Welcome everyone to the Mangalorian. What's up? Today we are covering Dragon Ball Manga Volume 30 as we continue the android saga with Vegeta's battle with 18, and we're going to get a new android introduced to the story, and the stakes are going to go up even more. I'm Danny. This is Jordan. What's up, man?
Not a whole lot, man.
You want to show off the goodies you got this past weekend?
I'll show you. I'll show this off. I'm not gonna go get anything else. But yeah,
Oh, damn.
I got this awesome Shenlong, bro.
You said it's the one from Daima from the first episode?
Yeah, this is the official Daima Shenlong that was just released like towards the middle of Daima's airing. It's really hard to find. It's normally exclusively sold in Japan.
These cons often have guys coming back from Japan getting stuff and then upselling it.
Yeah, well, this time this is really interesting. So this time I got it for $90, and I looked it up online, and it's normally $300. So I actually got a deal on it somehow. I don't know how, but I did. It's awesome.
Once in a while, there are deals at these conventions, bro. Like once in a while, a lot of times they rip you off, but other times there are good deals.
Yeah, but I'm really happy with it. This is gonna be my stream buddy from now on. He's gonna be on stream with us.
I love it, bro. I saw last week the official Dragon Ball page posted a bunch of like Daima statues, including Dooku, the Tamagamis, and Giant Goma, and I was like, "Fuck, I want all of those." Like Daima. My review for Daima went up on Saturday, and it was a mixed review. I liked some of it, I didn't like some of it, but one of the things I did like was all of the new Toriyama designs, including the Tamagami, which is my favorite new design for Daima, and Do and Ku. Like, I like the way, I just love the way they're all designed, bro. And they're all different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It really felt like a return to the style of character design that Toriyama did in the Buu saga, because there is a little bit of a change, and you'll be able to see this in the future on streams. But there is a little bit of change in the aesthetic of the Buu saga in comparison to the Android and the Cell saga. That's visibly, like, if you really pay attention to it, you can tell. And that Daima had that, and I really appreciated that. So
yeah, for sure. Toriyama's style evolved from arc to arc. Well, some would say evolved. Some obviously prefer some of the older art, but one of the cool things was that they in the anime, they had Tadayoshi Yamamuro take over as the lead supervisor on the Buu arc, and he at the time was doing more angular type of art, which matched up with Toriyama. So I always thought that was smart of them to kind of, like change it to match up with him. So let's go ahead and get into it here. Chapter 354, the composed artificial humans. Now, take note here of this art. First of all, on the right, Gohan's holding up little chapter 30 or volume 30 sign. Notice that Trunks' hair. I did a whole video. If you go back, did a video called "Why is Trunks' hair blue in Dragon Ball Super?" And I discussed that Trunks' hair has always been somewhat inconsistent in the original manga. There's an example right there. That's not quite purple. It's more like a magenta type of color. So, no, folks, Trunks is not Super Saiyan God, nor is he Super Saiyan 4. All right? Neither is Gogeta.
I've always kind of felt like Toriyama used the black-haired Saiyan trait to sort of limit himself when it comes to Saiyan character designs, because it does really, if you look at like all of his work, particularly with Dragon Quest, it does seem like he has a hard time resisting the urge to give people like wild color hair, so...
See, this guy in the chat says nobody thought that. No, buddy, I have been in this community for 10 years. I assure you there's people that thought that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that think that. There's people who literally think that the blue-haired Trunks from Dragon Ball Super is an entirely different Trunks simply for the fact that he has blue hair. Like, the amount of things that people will believe. And no, it's not 10-year-olds.
No, it's not 10-year-olds.
I've seen adults on Twitter, social media, YouTube, you know, it like no, it's not kidding.
No,
Like
dude.
I wish I could have that
I wish.
optimistic of a. I wish I could have that optimistic of a worldview, but
Everything Jordan said, I agree with. Trust me,
yeah,
my friend. I'm not bullshitting you. There are grown men who say these things, and
yeah.
and then if I say something condescending to them for being dumb, I'm all of a sudden the bad guy. So it's best to not even address it. Let's move on, though. Let's move on here. So this art, oh man, already from the get, bro. We just started this Mangalorian. I'm already drooling over this art.
Yeah, Piccolo
So
looks awesome there. Yeah,
he looks demonic again, bro. Look at his eyes.
yeah, he looks sick.
So what happened here is 18 broke Vegeta's arm, and now Trunks got involved, and that means everybody else is going to jump into the fight. Here Trunks tries to swack 18. This goddamn, bro, this might be some Toriyama. Look at the way he does the hair here. This is so detailed. So Trunks whacks 18. She blocks it with her forearm, and it breaks the sword. The sword has been broken. Now, the reason why this is a big deal is because this is the same sword that cut Frieza into pieces. That means that 18's body, the material in her body, is so much more powerful than what Frieza had, who's an alien, for her to be able to do this.
Yeah, and that's something about the androids that a lot of people don't know. You know, a lot of people don't know this is that they were enhanced on the cellular level, meaning that their cells themselves have been biologically enhanced to be what they are. It's a very, very similar aspect to what made Frieza who he was, except he went through it through natural biological evolution. A lot of people really discount the androids and don't take them seriously because they're not like aliens who are like higher evolved life forms. You know, a lot of people discount them and they don't, because the way they portray Frieza, they make such a big deal out of his abilities, the fact that he's a separate race from the Earthlings, the fact that he comes from space. And then when we get to this arc, we're coming back down to Earth and we're dealing with these two humanoid characters. But what a lot of people don't realize is that these characters have been enhanced on a cellular level to be even more advanced and even more evolved, so to speak, than Frieza in terms of their ability to withstand attacks and things of that nature. So, you know, they are super evolved life forms in their own way. It's just they've been like mutated through science rather than going through natural biological evolution.
People just forgot how badass they were.
Yeah,
honestly. And yeah, this chapter we're about to read should be a reminder to those who forgot, because damn.
I just think a lot of people think of the androids as just regular old androids, and they're just not. You know what I mean?
Well, like, I think people, it's one of two things. It's either what you said, or they think they're completely mechanical and they don't. And like I did a video a long time ago, going all the way back 2015, where people were asking like, how can 18 have a baby? And it's like when Dr. Garrow experimented on Lapis and Lazuli, he didn't remove their sexual body parts. There, you know, she still has ovaries. She still has her period.
Right. They're not cyborgs or androids the way that they're
not in the traditional sense.
Yeah, and not in the traditional sense. They have been altered on the cellular level. The only mechanical aspect to their body is the infinite energy generator. That's it. That's literally everything else was just enhanced in a biological sense. And that's what makes them unique. Yeah.
And they also don't have bombs inside of them like 16 does.
Right.
That's just something 16 has. So here comes, bro. This is one of my favorite ass whoopings ever, and it's on the good guys. Here comes 17 with the double axe handle to the back of Trunks. And I love how Toriyama, this is a great chapter. We started off with a great chapter. Toriyama's over here kind of telling himself like, fuck your Super Saiyans, bro. These are Super Saiyans, and they're doing the JOB on the PPV, as they say in wrestling. Double axe to Trunks. Down he goes, right? Krillin is like one hit, and he's a Super Saiyan 2. not number 2, but also here comes Piccolo, and 18 just roundhouse kicks him away. Here comes Ten Han. They're all trying to get their piece. Vegeta doesn't know what he's going to do. And here comes 17, who comes up next to Ten Han and puts a side headlock on him, which is really a choke. He puts this choke on him, which I love. I love when Dragon Ball uses real moves, like submission moves. We do not see it very often. But
Yeah.
Bardock used the sleeper hold in the Bardock special. Goku used the Boston Crab, which popped me because that's a legitimate pro wrestling move, because Toriyama watched it when he was younger. I know that. Here's a side headlock. Like, these are obviously, like I said, it's a choke, but it's a real move. Like, straight up. Look at his face, bro. He is choking him the fuck out. Look at the veins popping. Like,
yeah,
damn.
it's no surprise that wrestling fans got so into Dragon Ball.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And Cobra Kai is just like that. So here's 18 grabbing Vegeta by the foot, throws him onto Trunks. Look at that. Kabam. All this. What an absolute thrashing. Like, this is one of the few, well, not the few, but this is one of the times where the Z fighters, I guess you can call them that now at this point in the story, were just completely annihilated, bro. I mean, the choke, Piccolo doesn't know what hit him.
Notice that the 17 and 18 have mercy this time, though. That's really interesting to think about.
They didn't kill him. They didn't. We're going to talk more about that here in a minute. And then, look at Babam. Like, he hit him so hard, popped his back out like that. Krillin is just completely frozen in fear. Completely frozen in fear.
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Down goes Piccolo. Vegeta's doing what he can with his good arm, right? Tries to blast 18. 18 dodges, hits Vegeta again. Down he goes. Vegeta is feeling so much pain. Looks like I better see to it that you can't use your other arm either. So
emotional, mental, and physical pain. Like, all of it.
She put him, look at his arm, bro. Look at that. She popped him out of Super Saiyan. That's it. That strange glow of his faded and the color of his hair's back to normal. What an odd phenomenon. That other guy was the same way. Now, there's nothing about him at all on our path. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter. And then Krillin's there and he doesn't know what to do. Don't worry, they're still alive. Go ahead, give them one of those Senzu things. That should heal them completely, right? Let them know that once they brush up on their fighting, we'll be happy to take them on again. They had mercy.
That right there is wild. That is the first time Toriyama ever created characters that were behaving like Goku without ever interacting with him. The whole they're literally pulling a Piccolo from the Budokai Tenkaichi at the end of the original, the Tenkaichi Budokai in the original Dragon Ball. Like, they're literally doing that. Like, they're literally this is literally no different than whenever Goku gave Piccolo Sensu, which I always thought was like super interesting.
Was this the first time that they were giving us clues that the present timeline versions of 17 and 18 were less evil and different than the future variants?
I would say so. Well, I think it kind of leaves it up in the air whenever you see them destroy that truck. You remember that?
Yeah.
So that kind of creates this idea of like, oh, maybe they're definitely villains. You know what I mean? But then it's like it basically shows that they have pride in their abilities in the same sense as a martial artist or a Saiyan. And so basically that makes these two characters particularly susceptible to the dynamic that Goku creates between he and other characters, where they constantly bounce off of each other to try and get stronger and test their skills. So 18 and 17 are already susceptible to that, and they haven't even met Goku yet. Now, what I think is really cool is that they have all of the data on Goku, right?
Except for the Super Saiyan stuff, yeah.
But like Goku as a character,
Yeah,
right? Like
right.
who he is as a character. And I've always liked the idea that might be why that, and what Garo did to him after he was worried about them betraying him, right? Like the combination of those two things, I think, is what made these androids different. In my opinion, that's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
No, and make no mistake, at this point, 17 and 18 could have completely killed everybody here. Like Vegeta, Trunks, Piccolo, they all could have died at the hands of 17 and 18, exactly as Trunks said happened in his future. Exactly. And they didn't. They are supposed to die here. No, the events don't go the exact same way as Trunks' future goes, but make no mistake, this is when the Z fighters are supposed to die, but yet they're spared. So already there are timeline changes. We've got 16 who didn't exist in the future timeline. We've also got 19 and 20 who, according to Trunks, were the wrong androids. So there's already a butterfly effect from Trunks and really Cell. We're going to get to that shortly. And his time travel. So now they're saying they want to go see Goku, and 17's like, it'll be more fun to fight him later. So
yeah, he wants to have fun. Yeah,
he wants to have fun. Like he enjoys fighting for sport, which, like you said, is a Goku thing. And here we have 16 being this like Captain Planet nature type of dude. Chapter 355, Piccolo's resolution. Now we're going to get to the part of the series where Piccolo is number one again. First, let me get this super chat. Justin says, I thought the phrase was the pen is mightier than the sword, not the arm. Well, when it comes to 18, everything on her is mightier than the sword. Everything. Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say, bro. Use your imagination. Xavier says, Trunks got two-shotted. I believe the theory the future androids were holding back on him, and Gohan Trunks wasn't there when 17 killed Gohan in the manga. The manga and the anime version were different for the history of Trunks' story. Yeah. We are going to get there. We are going to read the manga version whenever we get to that point. But I don't know if the future androids had mercy, because it seems like they just enjoyed killing, whereas these guys have mercy. You know, that, like you said, Jordan, that it's a villain that actually shows mercy.
Yeah, this is clearly showing Toriyama's intention in the manga. That's the reason that the manga is so important, because the manga can show you Toriyama's intent in a way that like the anime can't, because the anime has so many hands on it in terms of like how it's directed, how the story's put together, all of that stuff. And the fact that one of the first things Toriyama chose to do was to depict the androids the way that he did in this instance, it's supposed to speak to the difference. Like it's supposed to, it's purposely put there for that reason. So,
yeah. And so right here, they're awake, and 18 says she wants to go buy new clothes. Part of me wonders too, because they were asleep in suspended animation in the laboratory for a number of time, whether it be years or months. We don't exactly know, but it makes you wonder, maybe because they're awake, maybe now it's like, well, let's go back to living our life, because they were a couple of teenagers that were kind of rambunctious, juvenile delinquents. So it's almost like they're, just think about it. Like if you were 17 or 18, right, and you wake up, you're going to want to experience life and see the world and see what the hell you've missed when you were asleep. We don't know. Yeah. Toriyama never specified how long they were asleep for.
That's true. But like I do relate to them in that way, for sure.
Well, you've never been put to sleep for years, at least not yet.
No. I'm just saying, if I was in their position, I would want to do the same thing, So.
Right. And then they're over here asking Krillin, saying, what exactly is your goal? He says, all we care about is beating Son Goku. We'll figure out what we'll do next afterward. Why are you after Goku? You killed Dr. Garo. He's the one who held a grudge against Goku, right? Dr. Garo has nothing to do with it. This is a game. This is what 17 says. After all, Son Goku is supposed to be the strongest person in the world, right? Game? That's what you're. And he's like, that's why I said we didn't need to tell us where he is. Hunting him down is part of the game. So they're going to try and take the long way to find Goku.
Yeah, they
and
want to
again,
have fun. Yeah.
It just shows that they're different characters. And then 16 says we were made to kill Son Goku. And he's a robot. He's a straight up, fully mechanical robot. And he's only got one mission. But because of the programming of him sort of being this gentle soul, it complicates things.
So this guy says, so they're less evil because of time travel.
No, it's the butterfly effect specifically.
Yes, and no. That's what I was getting ready to say. So what I find very interesting about the contrast between the two depictions of the androids, I don't know why I keep almost saying Saiyans. I guess it's because I'm thinking about the Saiyans in this instance. Because
Dragon Ball, man.
Well, not just that, but like the way that 17 and 18 behave in the original timeline, to me, the depiction there is supposed to be very similar to the evil Saiyans, right? Like they enjoy killing, they enjoy running around, destroying things in a way that Vegeta and Nappa and Raditz all did. Like they enjoy it in a very, very, very similar manner in the future timeline. But in this, they're more like Goku. They like to have fun. They want to just challenge their opponents and themselves. So to me, I think Toriyama did that on purpose. I think he made the androids depicted more like, evil and Saiyan-like in the original Future Trunks timeline. And then this, he's making them a little bit more like Goku or like Vegeta at this point, or, a number of characters who just want to improve themselves and prove that they're the strongest and have fun doing it. So I think
they're less sadistic.
Yeah, but I do think that he was specifically thinking about how he depicted the Saiyans in terms of how they're evil, because he did the same thing with Frieza. He gave Frieza very, very similar character traits that he originally gave to the Saiyans, right? Like the whole idea that they're conquerors, that they're ridiculously powerful, they're natural born killers and destroyers and stuff like that. So I do definitely think that he had that dynamic in mind whenever he was trying to depict the future androids in comparison to these. That's just my opinion. I just think that that's what he was thinking.
Well, but it makes you wonder too. We know for a fact that originally, not originally, when he was writing these chapters, he did originally intend for 17 and 18 at this point to be the main villains. But what we don't know is by the time that this chapter was published, the one that we're reading right now, did he already decide that Cell was going to be the next thing? Because we know for a fact that Torishima had told him that the teenagers as villains wasn't going to work. And then he decided to come up with Cell, which is the real villain of this arc. But by the time this chapter was published, it could have been a thing where he had already decided, okay, I'm going to do Cell. So if I'm going to do another villain who's more evil, let's make these androids less evil. Therefore, they're kind of victims of the greater evil.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah.
Yeah. We just don't know the exact time when Torishima told him, hey, do this, So Hugo says, if Cell never happened, do you think 16 would have been the antagonist of the arc? Or maybe something like Super Android 13, but with 16, 17, and 18? Super Android 13, no. First of all, to the last question, Super Android 13 was created to be a copy of Cell. Like we've said in the past, the movies are derivative of what's going on in the manga and the anime. Super Android 13 is literally Cell, except 13 is Cell, 14 and 15 are 17 and 18. It's the same exact dynamic. So no, there wouldn't even been a Super Android 13 if it wasn't for Cell. If Toriyama had never come up with Cell, then logic would tell us that these three would have been the lead villains. What we don't know is how it would have gone down. Would it have been Goku, Vegeta, Trunks against these three in the final battle? Would Gohan have ever gotten the push? Would it have ended up being Gohan versus 16? That's one of those what ifs that we may never know because Toriyama's not with us anymore. And even if he was alive, and you asked him, I doubt he would even remember, because this is like 1991, dude. Like, this was a while ago. What do you think? How do you think it would have gone down if it was these three and if there was no Cell?
Personally, if it was these three, I think it would have been a classic case of, the Goku effect, because he's already showing that they're susceptible to it. So I think it would have been repetitive in that sense. And I think that's part of the reason that coming up with Cell was a good idea, because the original androids, their motivations were, oh, let's just get revenge on Goku. Like, it was just like, Goku screwed us over, let's get revenge. Now, that's kind of a stereotypical motivation. It's not really super interesting. And now, don't get me wrong, I do think that the androids' motivation is a bit more interesting, but not as interesting as Cell's. Because Cell's motivation to be perfect is not only a really cool, like, parallel to Goku's desire to always get stronger as a martial artist. It's like a similar idea to that, but like an evil, corrupted version of it, which I think is like really super interesting. But it also, like, as Cell, as a character, as the main villain, it makes Cell stand out amongst the other villains. Whereas the other two villains prior, or I guess you could say the other sets of villains prior, 17 and 18 and 19 and 20, their motivations just don't compare to Cell's, in my opinion. So I think it's a really good thing that he ended up going with Cell, and I think probably how it would have went in each instance, it would have been very stereotypical. If it was just 19 and 20, I think it would have been just another thing where they're trying to go after Goku for revenge, and then Goku maybe changes 16 or somebody else's perception of him, and maybe 16 betrays Garo. Something like that could happen. In this case, I think the Goku effect also would have been a factor in the long term. I think he would have had a huge impact on 17 and 18 because they already seem to be susceptible to that effect. But I don't think either of those things are as interesting as what they did with Cell. And we do see 18 and 17 change. Like, and then all the way in Dragon Ball Super, Goku has a literal Goku effect on Android 17. So, despite the fact that was like a forever ago, Toriyama did eventually end up doing that with 17 and 18's characters. So, I think that was always going to be the intent with these two characters in particularly, and that makes me appreciate Cell more, because Cell is like an actual villain. You know what I mean?
If I can be honest, if it wasn't for Cell, let's say we lived in a universe where there is no Cell, this arc would have probably been too short and kind of been ass. Like, Cell is literally the character that makes this arc interesting. Not to say these characters aren't interesting, but after this fight, like, there isn't much more they could have done. But when Cell appeared, it just changed everything. And we're going to get to that later on in the stream. Justin says, so Krillin has a Woody for 18. It's just a shame that Krillin already got his V card swipe when Frieza forced himself inside of him. Bro, you are so sick. But yes, he's right. That did actually happen. This is the kiss right here. This one kiss led to this guy being like damn near anime fan fucking Instagram streamer stalk level right here, bro. I know that he doesn't have a lot of experience with women, even though the anime did have the Marin thing that wasn't in the manga. Dude, this one kiss changed his life, bro. And it was a kiss on the cheek.
Yep.
Wacky. So they leave. He doesn't know what to make of it. He's going to go give them all senzu. So everybody wakes up. Now everyone's getting back up again, and they're kind of feeling sorry for themselves because they got their asses kicked. And then he's over here saying they toyed with us for the sport of it. And Vegeta's like, fuck it, I'm out of here. And then they're like, no, leave him alone. Leave him alone. So here, we're gonna talk about this a little bit here. So Piccolo says Vegeta had finally become a Super Saiyan, beginning his long regaining his long lost pride and confidence. And then, artificial human or not, he got it all handed back to him by none other than a woman. It must be eating him alive right now. We talked about this in the last stream. Now Piccolo is talking about it. Vegeta got his ass kicked by a girl. And granted, nowadays, in the current political culture, that wouldn't be that crazy of a thing with some people. But Vegeta just got his ass. And yeah, she is a cybernetically enhanced superhuman. So it's not like she's a regular girl. But he just became a Super Saiyan. He just got what he wanted, and now he's been humiliated. I always found that interesting. This is why Vegeta fans oftentimes like get mad, because their boy always gets humiliated. But at least in future stories, it wasn't quite like this.
Yeah. I have some cool stuff that I can discuss about 17 and 8, or I mean about 18 and Krillin. So you'll notice that Krillin is not only wearing a monk's martial arts outfit, he also has the 6 dots, and it is traditional for monks like that to practice celibacy. And in the character that Krillin is based on, Tripitaka, yeah, one of the gags that plays out throughout Journey to the West is the fact that most of the demons and most of the princesses and just women in general all want to sleep with Tripitaka, like because of like how healthy he is and how wise and like empathetic and just overall respectable he is as a monk. Women are constantly throwing themselves at him. The demons, the princesses, they're constantly talking about how handsome he is. So and Tripitaka, one of his character arcs is having to resist the temptation to give in to all of these women who are constantly throwing himself at him. So I think that this dynamic between 18 and Krillin is a nod at that, because we'll talk about it later, but it feeds in, like Krillin literally has like a romance-based character arc in this arc that is very similar to one that plays out in Journey to the West, but we'll get into that more. But like I think that Toriyama is playing on the idea that not only, Krillin is based on that character, but if you remember, one of the things that Krillin had an issue with when he was introduced as a character, when he started training with Master Roshi, is that he wanted to do martial arts to impress women. That's the reason that he couldn't ride the Kintoon, because he was impure. Yeah, he was impure in the sense that he wanted to impress girls. So 18 is like the ultimate temptation for him in that sense. Not only that, but like the same thing goes on with all the characters. Like with Vegeta, like he's having his ego shattered. He's being put to the test in a very similar way, and that's something I really, really like about this arc. Is it takes all of the flaws of the characters that the story has played on previously and puts them to the test. So
yeah,
that's actually what's going on here between 18 and Krillin, is that Krillin's like original like impurity is like being put to the test in this arc. So
makes you wonder how 18 in Trunks' timeline felt about Krillin. She didn't give a fuck about him in that timeline. And here is an actual statement from Trunks that goes to that. He says, I should mention those guys were a little different from the artificial humans that I know. The ones that I fought in my own time didn't have such devastating physical strength with them. I could at least put up a decent fight on my own. So he's already telling us that these androids are stronger than their future variants. But they also have mercy. So it's a trade-off here. Now, Tien is saying that the future's looking pretty bleak. But what he doesn't understand is he just survived a battle with the androids that in the future killed him. So in a way, he should be counting his blessings, because he's not dead. He should have been dead. He's supposed to die there. Now, this is where this is where Piccolo takes the bull by the horn. So Krillin's like, tell us your plan. We're all friends. Friends, you say? Don't get the wrong idea. Since when am I your friend? Don't you ever forget that I am the Mazoku. If we ever had a truce, it was only to further my goal of conquering the world. That is so not Piccolo at this point in the story, but he's feeling a certain type of way and he leaves. This is going to lead to what's coming next with Piccolo. I actually really like this. Ten Shinhan says he's the reincarnation of Piccolo Daimao. Slipped my mind entirely. He's been losing us this whole time. Now, there is a reason as to why Akira Toriyama chose to bring back the word Mazoku and to bring back this conversation of Piccolo being the Demon King. Piccolo has not been referred to as the Demon King since early in the Saiyan arc. It's been a few chapters, more than a few, dozens, right? Though there is a reason as to why he's putting this in the reader's head. See,
Yeah, he wants you to remember it.
He wants you to remember it during Toriyama's time. And the truth is, and I've said this before, and it's not disrespectful, modern Toriyama is not the same as Toriyama from back then. He was a much sharper man back then. Nowadays, he didn't care anywhere near as much as he did back then. And you can tell by the writing. He's not telling you what's going to happen. He's giving you clues and foreshadowing and planting seeds in your head for you to remember, oh yeah, Piccolo is the Demon King. And that's going to tie into what's happening next. And Krillin has an idea. He says he wants to be the best, stronger than anyone else. That's all he's thinking about right now. That's why he flew off. He's going to cash in his last resort. At least I think that's what he's doing. His last resort? What are you talking about? Piccolo flew off in this direction. Do you realize what's over there? Huh? Well, I can't think of it, dude. That's where God's palace is, which is Kami, right? God's palace. Now, here comes the story. The Grand Elder of Planet Namek, which we talked about when we covered the arc in a few streams ago, told me something interesting. He said that if Piccolo and God hadn't split into two, he'd be able to hold his ground against even the Saiyans. What he actually said in what the Grand Elder actually said was that the son of Katatsu, who is Piccolo, or before he split with Kami, is a Super Namekian. And Super Namekians can be as strong, if not stronger, than Super Saiyans. He goes on to say, what I'm trying to say is I think Piccolo's leaving to visit God with the intention of becoming a single person once again. So he just tells you straight up what the plan is. So him saying, remember, I'm a demon, is to remind you that he's the demon side and Kami's the God side. What were you saying?
Yeah, God and the devil will merge together and go back to being a single Namekian warrior. I just love that line so hard.
It's awesome, bro. It's such aura. What's more, Piccolo's gotten a lot stronger. They'll probably become some unstoppable warrior. If Goku and the others are Super Saiyans, then Piccolo and God will become a Super Namekian. What I like about this too is that the Super Namekian stuff was brought up not really as a major plot point in the last arc, just sort of a brief conversation.
Yeah.
And Toriyama's taken that and saying, okay, now we're going to run with it. And they have been teasing this for a while. I mean, it was discussed all the way back in the Piccolo arc. Yeah. But Ten Shinhan is like, what happens if God disappears and the Dragon Balls won't work? And he's like, yeah, you're right. But if Piccolo and God dies, then we're going to lose the balls anyways. So their whole thing is, fuck the Dragon Balls. We're going to have to fuse to become the Super Namekian because that's the only chance we have. That's what Piccolo thinks.
Yeah.
Yep. And now Krillin acknowledges that Vegeta and Bulma's his parents. You don't have to apologize. You know, they're talking about like, well, Vegeta's probably also thinking. So here's Vegeta in the Superman pose. I love that art.
Yeah.
And damn it all, those artificial humans made a mockery of me. I'll make them curse the day they let me, Vegeta-sama, walk away with his life. So he wants to train and get stronger because he knows, look what happened on Namek. He kept training. He got stronger and stronger and stronger. So even he knows that they have more work to do.
Yep.
So we're back here. Goku's in pain. She's trying to find the medicine. Yamcha's there. I like that. You know, it's one of Goku's oldest friends who he actually knew before Chi-Chi. And they're trying to find the medicine. He found it. Goku is about to take the medicine, and now he's going to be okay. So everyone's pretty much split. The androids are heading for Goku's home slowly. Of course, they want to go shopping first, according to 18. And Piccolo is. Are you asleep, bro?
No, I'm just grabbing something for the stream.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were like this, bro. When I looked at you on camera,
No.
I was like, this guy out, bro. All right, so Piccolo arrives at God's palace. He magically gets his clothing back. Chapter 356, God's conditions. So this is pretty epic. We're not going to read every single panel here, but essentially Kami knows why he's there. Like they both know, like, we need to do this. And Piccolo says it's not a merger. You'll be nothing more than a springboard that allows me, Piccolo, to achieve the substantial power up that I require. We are not equals. The only purpose you serve right now is keeping the Dragon Balls active. And then Kami's like, you're right. He agrees. He's like, no, we're not equals. Kami's pretty much saying, you can take my power, bro. It's cool.
Yeah. So can you pull up the images I sent you? Because I just want to talk about this real quick. I think this is important. I sent you images on Discord.
Okay. Hold on, because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Which one? There's 4 of them.
4 of them. Yeah, just go through all 4. I want to show all 4.
Hold on. I got to figure out how to put that on screen.
Okay.
Hold on. I have it, but I have to figure out. There should be a button that says open image, but it's not letting me. Okay, there we go. Open link. Okay. All right.
So zoom in on that. I just want to read this to people so they get the idea. So this is the character I was talking about that Krillin was based on right here.
Who looks like Saitama, bro. He looks like Saitama.
Yeah, so in this particular episode of Journey to the West, Tripitaka is having issues with Sun Wukong. He's killing people again. He attacked Tripitaka, and nobody understands why. And you remember whenever Kami, or whenever the Super Namekian, the son of Katats, wanted to become Kami, how he basically said that he had to purify himself of his evil.
That's right? And that's how Piccolo Daimao was born.
So the character that's attacking Tripitaka, the version of Sun Wukong that's attacking Tripitaka and killing people again, is the evil that Tripitaka has cleansed himself of. So he basically did the exact same thing as Piccolo. He expelled the evil half of himself, and now the evil half of himself is running around killing people, trying to become the king of everything, literally exactly like King Piccolo. It's the exact
biggest thing. Except that Piccolo doesn't have earlobes this big, bro. Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. So you want me to go to the next image or no?
Yeah, go to the next image. Yeah.
All right. So the next image is this is the next image. It's Buddha.
It's Buddha talking to the 2 Sun Wukongs, and he's essentially telling them, because they're both confused as to who each other are too. The Sun Wukongs are, and he's telling them that this is the result of the mind being at war with itself. Basically, like, these 2 Sun Wukongs are the 2 aspects of who Sun Wukong is coming together and fighting. Like they're not at a peace with each other. So you can go ahead and go on to the next page.
This is the next slide right here.
So this is the instance in which Sun Wukong combines with the evil version of himself and controls it and uses it to his advantage as a martial artist. And what Buddha is telling Sun Wukong here is the only way to be your true self is to accept the evil part of yourself, so that way you can make peace with it and control it and use it to your benefit, and not actually give in to the struggle that happens whenever you're dealing with your evil nature. So you can go ahead and go to the next page.
This is the last one.
Yeah. So it says right here, he says, but you must never cease in your effort to unify in your mind both good deeds and evil deeds. It is the only way to be your true self. So this right here is literally exactly, you see the two parts of Sun Wukong right there at the top?
There's three I see.
Well, it's showing, but they're showing him naturally progressing back into that evil version of himself.
Yeah, I can see that.
But this is exactly what's going on here with King Piccolo and Kami. They are merging back together and becoming, like, the God and the devil thing is literally exactly what you're seeing here with Sun Wukong. That's the reason that Sun Wukong has the 6 ears and the red eyes. Like, he's got the horns that makes him look all demonic. And then the other Sun Wukong's got the halo-like thing on his head, like the crown. Like, they're literally referencing the exact same thing here. I just wanted to point that out because I think that that's really cool. Like, to know where Toriyama got the idea, I think is really cool.
Right. No, and actually, this wouldn't even be the only time that this was done. I don't want to go into spoilers because it kind of is a major spoiler, but we obviously know, first of all, that because, okay, Jared Punch says this is pretty much with Persona 4. He's actually on the right track. What I was going to say is the idea of somebody expelling their evil side and then it manifesting it into its own being. Majin Buu did that as well later on in the Buu arc. But there are other manga or other like things that reference this. Persona 4 is one as well. I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's a Dragon Quest game where later on in the game, you learn that one of the characters expelled all the evil out of their body, and that evil became the final, well, sort of the final villain, the main villain of the game. Again, I don't want to go into spoilers. If you played the Dragon Quest games, you know this. My point is that the idea of like a being expelling their evil and then maybe later merging with it again or not has been done a gazillion times in Asian.
Also, something really cool to notice in that last image I sent you. Do you remember when Piccolo was holding Krillin up? Or not Krillin, but Tien by his head?
Yes, like it's just right like there. That.
Yeah, it's literally exactly like that. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that is a great reference. So, well, I appreciate that, man. I kind of wish you had sent me that before the stream so I was ready for it, but we got it out of the way, so we're good. Yeah, so there you go. So this whole thing is that they're going to need to basically, they're going to have to do it. They have to merge. It says right here, the time has finally come for God and the devil to become one again. The earth has no need for a god right now. It needs me with enough power to crush these bastards before it's too late. That's a great line, bro. You know, now, but of course, there's more to it. Now, this is where we start to get some foreshadowing. This is where we know that Toriyama had more in store for us than just the androids. I do want to go through this with you guys. What did you say? Let events unfold. Remember, Kami God is very wise, and he has abilities that Piccolo does not have until they merge when it comes to like his connection with the earth, because he's God of Earth, right?
Right.
To see if 3 artificial humans are truly a threat to the earth. How can you be so easygoing? You saw what they did to us. I saw that you were the ones to start that fight. And what's more, I watched them spare each of your lives. That's a very true point. They picked the fight with the androids, especially Vegeta. Let's keep it real. That's who it was. And the androids let them live. They are lucky to be alive. Piccolo says, you disgust me. Did you miss what Trunks said while you were gazing down below? Or are you busy lounging around from the safety of your palace? The future is in ruins because of them. That is it. That it is. But Trunks also said the artificial humans from his time are different than the ones that you encountered too. What of it? Are you trying to tell me you think these guys might turn out to be misunderstood little angels? This is great dialogue.
It is.
I'm not saying that. I only wish to assess situation a bit more before making my final decision. gutless coward. Fine, I'll wait for you until irreparable damage is done. You finally make up your mind. Now we're going to get to the foreshadowing here in just a minute. A little bit with the androids here. This is them sort of when they steal the van, which looks like the turtle van, bro. I mean, it looks.
That dialogue is way deeper than people give it credit for, because it's like it's like God and the devil discussing whether or not they should have mercy on humanity. Like that,
it's very, you know what it reminds me of? Remember the book of Job?
Yeah. Yeah, it literally is that. Like it is that. Like it's literally God and the devil discussing like whether or not humanity should be punished, or like, you know, like it's wild. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's something that like people just it's one of the most underrated like dialogue interactions in Dragon Ball for sure.
I agree with you completely. And I think this cutaway is done to kind of lighten the mood a bit, because now they just stole the van, which they're not going to do shit with it. These guys are flying around. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do. They're all going to split up and see what the hell is going on. Now, this is where Trunks starts to say, again, this is all foreshadowing, but it's done so well. Like, look, man, I'm just going to say it again because I have to say it. Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Daima do not hold a candle to the original work. They just don't. Everything about the old school shit was better. The writing, like, it was so much sharper, you know. And this arc, I think there are problems with this arc. There are writing problems in this arc. No question about it.
I think it's fresher. I think that's the main appeal is that every arc. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm saying when you compare this to like Daima, which had a lot of writing problems, or Super, this is just so much better pacing and so much better uses of what's the word I'm looking for? The tools of literature.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't understand that when you're creating manga, you are the director. It's like you're the director of a movie. So
right.
This is like us seeing Toriyama's directing skills as well as anything else. And that's part of the reason that, like, despite the fact that the anime does reference stuff that Toriyama does in the manga by his own pen via animation, I don't think that the anime ever did what Toriyama was thinking as a director justice in the manga. I don't think they ever really directed it or portrayed it the way that Toriyama was trying to portray it in his head. I think they came close, but the manga, you can really get a sense of like how exactly Toriyama wants this to be portrayed. So,
but also sometimes the anime did do it better.
Sometimes, yeah.
I always put respect on Koyama and Morishita for the work they did.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Koyama and Ishida, we would not have
Morishita.
Morishita. We would not have, like, the West would not appreciate Dragon Ball as much as they do today. Like, it's that directing style that really made it pop off in the West. But I appreciate the like 80s style movie direction that Toriyama is going for. Like, you can tell in his head he's thinking about this as like an 80s style movie, and I just think that's really cool.
I mean, Terminator was the big inspiration, yeah. No, I don't want to debate if Super's better than Daima or Daima's better than Super. I'm just saying it doesn't matter which one you like more. Neither one can touch the original work. And also, I don't want to get into the whole canon thing, but the manga is the only thing that we know that Toriyama and his editors were 100% in on. Everything else has another writer or a co-writer or the studio interfering with it, including Dragon Ball Super. Toyotaro was the lead writer and Toriyama was more like the I guess the producer, or he would basically mentor Toyotaro. But Toriyama wasn't writing the whole manga of Super or doing dialogue or doing panels.
Well, he did some dialogue.
But back then, but back then he did everything. It was all him. It all went through his brain.
with Super, it's also a lot more vetted because they recently did an interview talking about like Toriyama and Toyotaro's like interactions and how they did the manga.
Yeah, that was a
Sometimes
big interview.
sometimes Toyotaro would suggest a line for them to use in the dialogue, and sometimes Toriyama would, but either person suggesting that dialogue didn't guarantee that that dialogue would get approved. The edit, like it's suggested that the editing process for Super is much more strenuous than this era. So this is like you're getting
For
to see,
Toyotaro, yeah.
well, in general, even a lot of Toriyama's lines got declined by Shueisha. So this is definitely like Toriyama flexing his freedom in a way that he can't in Super.
And he was also younger and hungrier, bro. Like the hunger is still there. Like when I say hunger, I'm not saying that the guy was writing for, he was broke. That's not what I mean by that. Because sometimes people associate hunger with like, I got to make money. It's more so that Toriyama still wanted to tell the story. Whereas with modern Dragon Ball, Akio went to Toriyama and Toriyama had fun with it. But during the original manga run, he still was in that world. Like that world existed in his brain still. And then he took how many years off? 17, 18 years. So it's just a different guy. Air Dog says 17, 18 use self-defense. Z fighters attack them. That's exactly what Kami was saying. That you picked that fight. And then Piccolo's like, did you not hear what Trunks said? Kami's like, yeah, but you still picked the fight. So here Trunks is saying, how could history change so much? The artificial humans now were nowhere near as strong, and these were the only two of them. So again, what's going on here? Toriyama, so let me explain this for people, for y'all to understand. I learned this a long time ago. When it comes to writing television, comic books, manga, anime, anything that's involving a story. So if you're listening to this and you are a person who wants to be a writer, listen very carefully, because this is something that Toriyama excellently did in this arc specifically. You want to have the reader or the viewer asking questions. That's what you want. You want to have a story where at the end of every chapter or every few chapters, the reader's saying to themselves, okay, what's going on? What is this? Who is that? Why is this happening? When you have who, what, where, when, why, and how in the reader's mind,
doing your job, yeah.
That means they're invested in the story. That means they want to know. And that's really, really important. When you're writing television, I watched a workshop once about writing television, like how to write a TV show. And that's the one thing that they keep the viewer asking questions. All the great TV shows in history. Just recently, the Cobra Kai thing, Cobra Kai let every episode end with a cliffhanger. Great TV shows always end with cliffhangers because they want you to talk about it for the rest of the week. They want you to talk about it to your friends and your family. That means you're in.
Right.
So, all right. So they're back at Goku's house, right? There's not much here to really say. They're just telling Yamcha what happened. They're trying to take care of Goku. They're going to put him in that ship. The reason why they're taking Goku out of there is because they know the androids are heading there. Yeah. So they want to hide him. All right. So chapter 357, news from Bulma. So they're escaping the house. And this is where things start to really unravel. So Trunks says, this may sound crazy, but what if I take my time machine back to before the artificial humans were activated and destroy them? We know where Dr. Garo's laboratory is now. Oh, yeah. So I'm just saying, if you go back in time and destroy them before they're activated, they'll never get activated, right? That's what Yamcha thinks. But Krillin says this. Hang on a second. Didn't you say earlier your time machine wasn't exactly perfect? Besides, like you told Goku, it takes an awful lot of time to get enough energy for a round trip. If you go further back, will you be able to get back to your own time? And he's like, I'm not sure. At this point, and I actually love this conversation in the anime and the manga. They're trying to figure out how the characters in Dragon Ball are trying to figure out how time travel works in Dragon Ball. And they're thinking about it more so like it reminds me of in Avengers Endgame when they're having that, when Hulk is having the conversation with Ant-Man and he's like, no, it's not like Back to the Future. It's like this. That's the same conversation they're having here. They're thinking about time travel in other stories, not their own.
Yeah.
And I like that. Let's continue. Gohan says, I was just wondering, Trunks-san, if you were to go back to the past and destroy the artificial humans, what would happen to the ones that are here now? Would they just poof and vanish? That's the Back to the Future mentality. If I go back in time and I kill Jordan's grandfather, Jordan will never exist. That is not how time travel works with Trunks' time machine in Dragon Ball.
Time branches, time streams.
Yeah, and the time machine has a connection with Trunks' original timeline. And see here he says, but in this timeline where the artificial humans have already been activated, nothing would change. Well, for example, in the present time, Goku-san's life was saved with the cure for the heart disease that I brought over from the future. But in the future from which I came, Goku-san is still someone who died in the past of heart disease. So even though Goku took the medicine, Goku didn't just magically come back to life in Trunks' timeline. That is not what happened. In other words, while there's a future in which Goku-san is alive, there's another future in which he's dead. Many different futures are created over the smallest of things. That right there is called the butterfly effect. I don't understand, and I'm going to sound like a dick when I say this because I always do. I don't understand why this is such a difficult concept for people to grasp. Like, okay, time travel can be a mind fuck. We can agree on that.
It's just copying timelines. It's just, if you think about it, it's just copying timelines. It's not that hard to grasp. You're not traveling back and forth in one timeline. Every time you create a new event, you're creating an entirely new timeline. It's literally that simple. So.
Yeah. And Trunks is realizing that when he went back in time and killed Frieza, even though he saved the planet from being destroyed, Goku's supposed to be the one to kill Frieza. Trunks came in and changed the entire timeline just by doing that. And I've always found that interesting. So you're saying that even if Goku somehow finds a way to get rid of this artificial humans here, they're still going to exist in your future. He says, that's right. So why'd you bother coming here in the first place? My mother, she couldn't stand letting the artificial humans walk over us. She told me that making a future place where they didn't exist was enough for her. But her primary goal was for me to somehow find a weak spot by watching Goku-san fight them. And if that didn't work out, I could use the time machine to bring Goku over to the future and get rid of them there. Now, I always wanted to see Trunks bring Goku to the future. It never happened in the original story, but it did happen in Super, because in Super, Goku and Vegeta go with Trunks to the future. And that's almost like a
homage to this. Yeah.
No, I was going to say it's almost like they're doing it's not foreshadowed, but they're kind of doing what people thought they might do back then.
Yeah.
So he says, it seems that I've come to a past slightly different from the past that I'm familiar with. The timing of when Goku-san was supposed to come down with a heart disease has changed. Additionally, there are now 3 artificial humans, and they're even stronger than the ones I fought. But why have things changed so much? I don't know. What could have caused it? Was it simply because I came back here in the time machine? There was nothing for you to fret over. If you hadn't come, Goku would have died from his illness. I'm grateful for you. So yeah, there is. It wasn't like
Goku was being really sweet. You gotta appreciate.
Yeah,
that.
Trunks is over here like, oh no, I made shit worse, not realizing that no, you did okay. We're gonna get back to that conversation later. Here's Vegeta on top of a mountain screaming, which he loves to do. They did this in Super as well. I love. Oh yeah, the Toonami intro started here.
Yeah,
I thought Super Saiyan was supposed to be invincible. So then how could this be? How was I so casually defeated today? I am the super elite prince of the Saiyans, the best of the best. When I became a Super Saiyan, it should have cemented my place as the strongest in the universe. Is it because they're artificial humans? Is this all that I'm capable of? No, he's so mad at himself. I am Vegeta. I know that I'm better than this. I will conquer any foe, regardless of how strong they are. I'll surpass each and every one of them, I swear. And then Kakarot, after I defeat the artificial humans, you're next. Very on brand for Vegeta. Vegeta, so at this point, Toriyama had probably decided that he was going to figure out a way to create something that was stronger than Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So this conversation is not that important. It's about Goku and how they can get there. They're saying they want to take their time. It's just, you know, not
they
really
highlight that 17 likes to have fun. Like they just basically reiterate things that they already reiterated.
I think Toriyama was just showing us that they're still a threat. They're still around.
Yeah.
So Krillin's calling Bulma. So hold on a minute. She says, okay, now we have a new turn of events. So Bulma says, someone from a provincial area out west gave the company a call a little bit ago. He said he found a strange abandoned vehicle sitting there and that he was interested in claiming it. So he called us to ask if we could tell him how to start it up. Yeah, so like it's not even a big deal, right? Well, our people asked him over the phone what model it was, but he didn't know. So of course we asked if there was it was at one of our products, and he said it was Capsule Corporation logo written on the body. So we asked him to take a picture and send it to us. When I finally got it, I couldn't believe what I saw. It's a picture of the time machine that Trunks came in, and this is damaged. So he's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? I actually love the way Toriyama does this. It's such great slow build up to this. He doesn't just introduce
it's out of nowhere. It's literally out of nowhere. Like there's nothing. I mean, other than the fact that like Trunks is talking about what event might have, you know, caused a change in the timeline, which it is alluding to Cell. You know,
yes, it is. It's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Because Trunks thought it was him, but he's not the one that really started the butterfly effect.
Yeah, it was Cell.
It was
But
Cell,
this is like this. I remember when I first saw this in the anime, not in the manga.
Were you confused?
Well, I was like, it came off as eerie. I was like, what the heck's going? Like, I don't know.
Mystery.
Yeah, it was very, very
Get
eerie.
the viewer to ask questions.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing here.
Yep.
So Trunks is like, that can't be my time machine. I've got it right here in the capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess this isn't the one that he came here in. It's completely covered in moss and looks like it's been sitting out there for quite a while. So I thought it was odd. How many time machines did my future self build? And he's like, well, she only built one. Well, this is definitely your time machine. I got a good look at the one you came in before, and there's no mistaking it. I'll send over a copy of the photo. And then she faxes it because we're still living in the 90s. And then Trunks is like, dun, dun, sacre bleu! That is my time machine, covered in moss. This is such cool shit, bro.
Yeah.
Because as a reader, you're like, wait a minute. So is there another Trunks? You know what I mean? Like that's the first thing you assume.
That would be the first thing you would think. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but then you see the fucking hole in the machine, like the dude blasted out of it.
Fuck? Yeah.
Chapter 358, Evil Premonition. There's no mistake. This is the exact same time machine that I arrived here in. What does this mean? And then does she know the location? And then she's basically saying it's somewhere near section 1080 or 1050 West. And then they're going to go see it for themselves because it's weird. And then we have some stuff with Bulma's mother, who always is a pleasure to see making a cameo. Bulma takes off, and now they're having this conversation. where Gohan's like, "Is the future you're from really as?" What'd you say?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, that must have been me reverberating. All because the artificial humans are they that bad? Yes, the global population is down to several tens of thousands. West City has been all but destroyed. We managed to stay alive by hiding in secret underground bases. Some fucking Terminator shit for real. I hope we managed to find a weakness in them. I kept thinking about earlier when artificial humans turned on Dr. Garo. It was evident that he regarded them as a failure. But even so, he was been backed to a corner and had no choice but to use them. And in the end, he was killed by them. Dr. Guerra must have known how dangerous the artificial humans would be during the testing period, which means he must have had some way of stopping them when the need arose. This is the foreshadowing for the remote control. Fuck, man, this dude was so good at foreshadowing back then. Fuck. He's foreshadowing like 4 different fucking things.
Yeah, he's building up to a lot for sure.
Motherfuck. And the thing is, like, okay, let's go back to other arcs, the Frieza saga. When we saw Frieza, we knew he's the final boss. Not much of a mystery there. He's the final boss. When Krillin was killed, there was a mystery about who did it for about what? 2 chapters. Then we find out it's Piccolo's minions. Here, Toriyama is fucking teasing and teasing and teasing chapter after chapter after chapter and not even giving us the answers yet.
Yeah.
And that's how you keep readers hooked. You know, like I said, this arc has a lot of problems, but I do feel like this I think when it comes to pacing and building a story, this might be Toriyama's best work just in that aspect. But hold on. Y'all are asking questions of having Jordan explain timelines and universes. Like, I don't know if we have time for that conversation, bro.
I can literally just say
I've already explained that on video.
The timeline is just a copy of everything, all the universes, everything. I mean, we literally saw that there's 2 Zenos.
So yes, we literally saw there's 2 Zenos, bro.
So if everything that exists within a timeline, which is a collection of, it's the entire
all 12 universes, and the demon realm,
so it copies everything, not just a universe. So there you go.
Quaman explains this perfectly. Yes, that is true, but Quaman, the video Quaman did is a great video, but it's only for the old stuff. Does not cover Super Daima or any of that other stuff. So just be aware of that. So okay, so now Gohan and Trunks have arrived at this time machine, and and Bulma's there too. And so now Trunks takes out his time machine and sees that it's the same thing. Like, it's the same time machine, but the one that's covered in moss is older, at least based on the moss. And then Trunks is like, well, no, you only built 1 time machine. Why are there 2 time machines? That's the big mystery. Now, look right here. Trunks says, you wrote Kibo in English on the side of the body before I left, which is hope. There was actually a mistranslation I made a video about this, even in the subtitled version of Dragon Ball, where Trunks says that he wrote Hope, but it was actually Bulma. Bulma was the one that wrote Hope on the time machine.
Yeah.
So that's how you know it's the same time machine, because it has Hope written on it.
Yeah.
So again, they're trying to figure this out. There's something weird about this whole thing. It was melted from the inside with extreme heat. So not just the ki blast. And again, what's going on? I mean, we know what's going on, but they don't know what's going on. I just love this because they're over here trying to figure everything out. And there is the, what would you call this thing? This
egg.
It's an egg. It's just an egg, and that's it, like a larva. Yeah. So what he says, some kind of coconut.
His little Song stone egg. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah. And look, she even says some kind of an eggshell.
Yep.
Like, and then Trunks is over here like sweating, like what the fuck? And then, do you think whatever made the hole came out of the egg? And he said, and now this is where things get interesting. The remaining energy is almost down to 0. And according to this, it arrived from age 788. That's 3 years into the future from when I left. So that means that this time machine is older in the sense of it was 3 years after when Trunks went back from his timeline. Trunks went back in what, 785?
Yep.
It arrived in this era about 4 years ago. Now, this has always been a mind fuck for a lot of people. Yes, Mecha J, Cocoon, thank you. This has always been a mind fuck for a lot of people. This time machine arrived a year before Trunks arrived to kill Frieza. And there's always been this debate about which came first, the Trunks timeline or the Cell timeline. And the reason as to why it's difficult to say is because
I don't think it's difficult at all.
Wait, hold on. Because Trunks going back in time had to have happened first before for the Cell timeline to happen. So in reality, the unseen timeline is the one that was first. But
exactly,
that's the big mystery. And Quaman does have a big video about it. I've been thinking about doing a video about this for years, but including what happened in Super. Sort of like updating Quaman's video, but including the Super stuff. Because Super has like 2 more timelines. Like Super makes it even more whacked. But what do you think about this? Just this whole thing.
I think it's a really cool way of explaining the time travel mechanics. That's essentially what Toriyama's been doing ever since
the butterfly effect.
Yeah, ever since the conversation in the ship to this point, he's just explaining and without like outwardly telling you, oh, this is how time travel works in Dragon Ball. He's using the characters to explain the mechanics of time travel, and I think that I do appreciate that. As far as the whole like Cell thing, it's a really cool. I like how both Trunks and Cell came from like an egg shaped, themed object.
Journey to the West.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of really cool little homages and nods that Toriyama is doing here that I really appreciate.
Notice how Trunks says, could it be that this is the reason history has changed so much? So now it's pretty much told to us directly.
Yes.
That Cell's time machine is what caused the butterfly effect. Now, after we get done today, check out Quaman's video. I think it's called the Quaman Time Travel Theory. I think he put the video out like 11 years ago. It's not a new video. It does not cover anything from Super. It only covers the original manga and anime, and I think that's probably the best video. I mean, I think it's his best video ever. Because he explained it really, really well. And I didn't help him with it. That was before I knew him. But like I said, I do think I may have to make an updated version for everything. For the old stuff and the new stuff. Because the new stuff, like earlier, the question about universes and timelines, that I explained that in a video during the Trunks arc era. But I feel like it might be better to take all the different sort of, because when the Trunks arc was happening in Super, I was putting out time travel videos. I think I put 4 of them out. I put like 4 out, taking all the information and compile it. You know what I mean? Into one video so everybody can see it, but it's probably going to be long. So, K-Man, why is Kami sweating? Is bro nervous about fusing with Piccolo?
Who wouldn't be, bro? I mean, you're literally...
But that's not why he's sweating.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, even if he is nervous, who wouldn't be? You know, like
he's sweating because of this right here.
Yeah.
So this strange feeling that's been plaguing me the last 4 years is not due to the artificial humans. What is it that came back in that time machine? Not even I can tell. What did you say? One thing is certain: a creature even more terrible than the artificial humans is alive somewhere on this earth. What a Fucking
Man.
great hook, bro.
Yeah.
That's why he's fucking sweating, bro. It has this is not the first fusion. You forgot about Nail. He's sweating because he has had a disturbance in the force for the past 4 years, and now it's starting to take shape. What are you babbling about? Indeed, it appears the day has come when I must forsake my divinity, merge with you, Piccolo, and take on the role of a warrior. Soon, very soon, something devastating is going to happen here on Earth. This is like nothing. This is nothing like the crises that have come before, time and time again. I have a horrible premonition of doom. Yeah, bro. Dragon Ball, bro. Anybody who says that Super's better than this is a fucking moron. No offense, of course. God has seen it. Chapter 359. What a title. So I like how Bulma's like, I guess I really am a genius for building that time machine. So they take both time machines away. They're going to go to Roshi's place because Goku's still recovering. We don't have to go through all this dialogue because I already kind of summarized it. And Gohan's like, okay, what the hell's going on? He's like, what is this? And then they find this. Again, very creepy.
Yeah, originally it was revealed here recently that Cell was just going to be a giant cicada monster. Like he wasn't going to
like
be
his first form.
Yeah, he was going to be like a giant like monster. Like he was going to be an actual monster, which is interesting to think about. But I guess this is a good time for me to go into the cicada stuff. So
Okay.
there's a reason that Toriyama picked the cicada theme for Cell. Like the main character of Journey to the West was a character called the Golden Cicada, and he was technically considered like the antagonist of the story, like really early on, even though he becomes the main character. Because what happens is Buddha is given a sermon and he falls asleep. And the reason he falls asleep is because he believes that he's already achieved perfection as a Buddhist. So what he does is he banishes him to Earth and forces him to go through many cycles of reincarnation to re-achieve, what he was trying to achieve amongst Buddha in heaven or in Nirvana. So he basically was arrogant. He believed that he had already achieved perfection, and that he was like the ideal Buddhist, and that's part of the reason that he's like paired with Sun Wukong is because Sun Wukong is a reflection of his deep inherent negative character traits, like his arrogance, like his desire to like attain higher levels of power and authority and respect and things of that nature. So the cicada in Asian myth is symbolic of the idea of reincarnating over and over and over again until you reach perfection. So that's the reason that Toriyama chose to use the cicada as the theme for Cell, is because the theme of his character is trying to attain perfection. So I just thought that's interesting,
Yes.
So.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have nothing to add to that. A cicada in and of itself is a creepy looking bug. And we haven't really had like a bug. Like Namekians are supposed to be based on slugs, and Frieza is just kind of a combination of a lot of things. We haven't really had like a bug type monster yet in Dragon Ball. We've had Goku fight like pterodactyls and shit, but not like a bug type monster. So this is a shell. And look right here, like, oh, this is cicada. And then they realize that this is probably what came in the time machine because just, it's so near it. So how did it get here? Like they're asking questions that we're supposed to be asking. He touches the goop or whatever, the nut or whatever. It must have just now molted. It might be somewhere close. Uh-oh. Now they're scared. It might be somewhere close. And now she's freaking out. Look at her face. We should probably get out of here is what they're saying. So they're getting the fuck out. what in the world is going on? It's not making any sense. None of this makes sense. So even the time traveler doesn't know. Even so, none of this happened in his timeline. Well, Cell did appear later, but it didn't go down like this because there was no, because Cell didn't go back. So here's 18 trying on her like Native American garb. There's not much really for us to highlight here. It's just she has new clothes and she fucking destroys that cop car.
She's still trying to be a woman while also trying to be an android.
What's funny is that she doesn't even kill these guys. They actually, once again, they have mercy. So Kami is really freaking out now. What is this horrible creature I'm sensing? Notice that Piccolo cannot sense it, but Kami can. That's because, like I said earlier, when Kami became the god of Earth, he inherited certain abilities, and that connects him with the Earth. It's very similar to how on Namek, the Grand Elder was feeling like sick when his children died, or when Piccolo, if you remember, when Piccolo kept giving birth to his army, every time Goku or Yajirobe would kill one of his children, he would be in pain. Yeah, exactly. This is similar to that, but it's more so he's freaking out because he can sense disturbances and he knows something is going on. And look at his face right here, bro.
Yeah, he's terrified.
He's terrified, yeah. And Piccolo's like, what the hell are you doing, man? Tell me something. You know, tell me something. Okay, now things get even more weird. So Bulma hears this on the radio. Approximately 1 hour ago, all contact with Ginger Town, a town on the outskirts of the West City, has been lost. According to reports from an investigative team dispatched to the area, all of the town's residents have vanished without a trace. Damn, this is such good shit. We are told this is probably the closest Toriyama came to like a Stephen King type of thing.
Yeah, to a movie. Yeah. Yeah.
Because even though Boo is like a demon, Toriyama's not using the horror foreshadowing tropes in that arc like he did in this one. This one,
this
he
is
really
much more sci-fi horror. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a suspense thriller. We are told that there's no sign of life. The cause of this is bizarre and alarming situation still under investigation. And she's like, that's where we found the shell. The Union of God and the Demon King, chapter 369. So,
it's where they finally merge.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything interesting. I guess
they're just showing us what Bulma was talking about in the last chapter.
And now we see the clothes still there, but the people not there.
Yeah.
What were you going to say something about it?
No, I was just going to say, it's just reiterating what Bulma said in the last chapter.
There are sets of clothing all over the ground as if the people wearing them had just melted away. Beside one of the clothes lay a rifle, which suggests they were fighting against something. So they're thinking, oh, it must have been the androids. But wait a minute. No, it can't be the androids. Why would there be clothing left over?
Yeah.
And then Krillin's like, does it have to do with the second time machine? So everyone's actually freaking out, including Trunks.
And they're figuring it out slowly.
Yeah, right. But they're also very concerned because think about it from the perspective of the characters. They just got their asses whipped by Android 17, 18, and 16. Well, 16.
Now they've got a brand new, even more powerful monster coming after their ass. Yeah.
And it's fucked up because they're already Goku is not healthy just yet. They're sitting there like sitting ducks, trying to figure out what the hell they're gonna do, because it's like, what do you just got your, like, so you know that there's these fucking cyborg assassins out there, basically two Terminators who want to kill Goku and anybody who gets in the way. And now we've got this other fucking thing sucking people. And you're right, I'm going to use that word a lot in the next few chapters. Let me tell you, you're going to hear a lot about sucking very soon. The horror element of this buildup reminds me of a certain Ridley Scott film. There's a lot of Ridley Scott films that have that. Alien is certainly one of them, because in Alien, which is Toriyama's favorite movie, they don't explain everything right away. They find the face hugger, then it gives birth, and they don't, like, you don't really figure everything out till like near the end.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, so it is like Terminator and Alien. Yeah, I would agree. Switch to a different channel. And now again, he's sweating, and Piccolo's like, why are we wasting time? Let's get on with it. He's like, what is this creature you saw? There's no need for me to go into the trouble of explaining it to you. Once you and I have merged and become one, you'll know what it is I saw. Because he'll have all that's, and that's why Piccolo has
godly abilities. Yeah.
Well, not just that, he'll have all the information, because this is why Piccolo knew when he first saw Shin in the Buu Saga that he was a higher god, because regular Piccolo wouldn't have known that.
True. Yeah.
So you finally come around, huh? You must have seen quite a monster down there. You are still young and have far greater power than I do now. I will be nothing more than a catalyst for your power up. I will also provide my vast knowledge. So, hell of a power up here. And then even Kami says, it's not a god that the earth needs right now. It needs a strong and powerful warrior. Piccolo is different now. Most of the evil in his heart is all but vanished. So all that Demon King shit, he was just talking shit. Once we have merged back together, I doubt we shall ever split apart again. Thank you for all that you've done for me.
Essentially the straw that breaks the camel's back in terms of Piccolo's character arc. Kami is pointing out that he has a little bit of evil left, but it's all but completely gone. And Kami kind of throws that over the edge by merging with him. Like, he kind of helps purify Piccolo in that sense. So
yep. And now he's officially the child of Katatsu once again. So here comes the merger. They're both like, and then he's like, huh? And then he's doing the fucking I'm looking at myself pose. Let me get this super chat here. Shaman says, it's like Five Nights at Freddy's because they foreshadow everything. I have never seen or played Five Nights at Freddy, so I have no context for that. Do you know what he's talking about? Because I've never played it.
My kids play it. It's
like a horror game, right?
Yeah, and they do foreshadow everything. That's true.
Yeah, no, but that's good. I mean, that's what you should do as a storyteller. And then here's the line everybody loves. I am neither God nor Piccolo now. I'm a Namekian who has long since forgotten his true name. Well, then off I go. And then he's going down. And then now the news. And then Trunks is like, I need to go see for myself what's going on. Gohan wants to go with him.
Chi-Chi's like, hell nah.
Yeah. And then Trunks is like, no, I'll be all right. Piccolo's the first one to show up. Now things get, man, this is one of my favorite parts of the arc. One of the things that Mr. Fusion pointed out, Lance, is that Cell is much more interesting when he first appears than later. I completely agree. Like this whole mystery thing, him with that form, like I still think Perfect Cell's a great villain, and there's a lot of deep shit there, especially with his psychology. Yeah, but this Cell is far more interesting just because we don't know anything.
Well, not just that, he comes off like a sci-fi horror villain in a way that Perfect Cell doesn't. So he's unique in that way. Yeah,
but you get both in this arc, so you're gonna get both. So then Piccolo says, you finally decided to show yourself, you monster. And I like how all we see is the feet. And think about it. This was the cliffhanger. So if you're reading this in Weekly Shonen Jump, this is all you see for a whole week. They had to wait a whole week for the next Shonen Jump to come out before we got our answers.
Yep.
So let's get to it. Chapter 61, the mysterious monster finally appears. And in some ways, this is, Perfect Cell's a great look, but
this is more unique.
Yeah. This is more terrifying too.
Yeah.
Justin says best villain introduction ever. I kind of agree with him.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think in terms of like the mystery element and stuff like that, it's definitely really awesome. I do tend to appreciate Frieza and the Saiyans introduction just as much. But I think that this is a good change up from how he introduced Frieza and the Saiyans, for sure.
Yeah, and it's different. I mean,
I think my favorite introduction, to be honest with you, is Piccolo Damayo because of where
Krillin's dead.
Yeah, that's my favorite. But this is still really good. So
right. I have my damn Steam on right now. But anyways, so you finally decided to show yourself, Monster, which is where the cliffhanger is. The art here is phenomenal, dude. The art is so good. There we have a full body shot of the creature. What in the world is this
carrying
thing?
a snack?
yeah. He's about to suck him. That shouldn't even be possible. Help me, I'll pay you as much as you want, blah, blah, blah. I doubt that you can understand a word I'm saying, but let him go. His life is still life, however pathetic it may be. And then Cell drops him, and then here comes the tail. Then he sticks it in his ass, and he sucks him, bro. He sucked that old man, bro. There it is. This scene right here.
That's some disturbing art.
It's one of the most horrifying things Toriyama's ever drawn. And like I said before, I think a lot of Dragon Ball fans got into Dragon Ball with the Frieza and Cell arc, so they think that it's all like this. And it's not. I actually think that what makes the Cell arc so good is the fact that it's different. I understand Toriyama. I understand that Toriyama's a gag, lighthearted manga writer, right? I get that. But the fact that he actually went this dark, that a writer...
it was refreshing.
Yeah, because it's a man who's so, playful with most of his projects. Like I said before, Dragon Ball fans need to read his other works. Like, even like Pink and like Konosuke and Gogo Akman, because they're all just comedy pieces. They're all just goofy comedies. This is the one thing he did that's like actually dark as fuck.
Yeah.
Justin says, since when the hell did Hopper from A Bug's Life grow to human size and get a him crudely shaped talk? Did you mean to say tail? I think he meant to say tail. Yeah. Well, what happened was Hopper wanted to suck off a guy, and so he evolved and was able to do that. 0x Zach, Imperfect Cell's my favorite Cell design. I like Perfect Cell, but I love this design too because it really is actually creepy. Like if I ran into this in a dark alley, I'd be more scared of this than Perfect Cell.
Yeah.
How come Piccolo never created anyone eggs babies? I think you mean how come he never made any eggs? I think it's because Piccolo Jr. never inherited that ability, but it's never really explained.
He probably just doesn't want to. I think that Piccolo as a character has a much more, after he's reincarnated, he has a much more a strict warrior code. So I think that's a lot to do. I think his character changed, and that's why he never did. That's my opinion.
Justin's super chats have composed of nothing but comedy for the past like 10 streams. Wait, what? So this bug man feeding off of people by RPing them? I don't want to say that word. Is he some form of Dragon Ball Fleece Johnson? I like you and I want you. And we can do it the easy way or the hard way. So if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. You all right, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just
now Cell speaks. Don't worry, you'll be joining him soon, Piccolo Daimao. What did you say? How did you know that name? What kind of thing are you? So he knows who Piccolo Daimao is. And then he starts to power up. And then he says, I am your brother. Now that I really believe this was Toriyama parodying Empire Strikes Back. But instead of saying, I am your father, he says, I am your brother, because Daimao is the father and he's the brother because they're both green and because he has his cells. What do you think about when you first saw this, did you actually think it was Piccolo's brother?
No, I thought maybe he was like a clone, You know, like maybe he was like a
You weren't that off, bro, because he kind of is he's an amalgam clone of different cells.
yeah, I was thinking that he was like an altered version of Piccolo that like essentially like when I first saw this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I thought was, okay, Garo at some point, or some scientists must have saw the value in the second batch of fighters that they fought. Basically, like how like the fighters were improved because of the new timeline. I thought this was that happening again. That's what I thought this was, and it is, but just not. I didn't know the details, So
No, fair. Yeah. And something that the anime did differently. Anime, before they actually showed Cell, there were a number of scenes where other characters like Vegeta, Trunks, Krillin were sensing energies that were familiar to them but not the same. They were sensing Frieza's energy, they were sensing Piccolo's energy, Goku's, and that's because Cell has the cells of these fighters.
right.
And I remember in the anime they showed them feeling that before this scene even happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And right here, we're seeing it here. This is like literally playing out what I just talked about, but the anime did it in reverse order, which added more to the mystery. And they're like, what's the deal with this key? It's Frieza. That's Frieza and his father. It's Son Goku and Piccolo and even my dad. So they're sensing all these different energies in one being. And they're like, wait, Frieza and his father are dead. Like, again, they did this in the anime before, but in a different order, just for build-up purposes. I don't hate the way they did that. And then Piccolo's like, okay, what kind of monster are you? Start explaining. You don't need to know such things. And he's like, okay, then I'll have to choke the life out of you without knowing who you are. No, Piccolo Daimao. Oh, and he says, ho, Piccolo Daimao intends to kill me. I don't know how or where you come to encounter the name Piccolo. And then this is that's some phenomenal art right there, bro.
Yeah.
When Toriyama takes up the whole page, you know it's going to be some flames, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he's done a full page spread, it's been fucking fire.
Yep.
He doesn't miss.
No, not with a full page spread, for sure.
Never. But unfortunately for you, you've got the wrong person. What did you say? All right, chapter 262. A duel in Ginger Town. And here we have the egg, the larva, and Cell. I've got the wrong person. You claim that you're not Piccolo Daimao? Yes, that's right. And then this is where they're saying, okay, there's another key, which of course is Piccolo's. And then Trunks is like, oh, Kami and Piccolo merged. And Krillin is all happy because they have the Super Namekian. The fact that you've dealt with all of the residents in this town works out quite nicely in my favor. This way I'm free to go all out, so he doesn't have to kill anybody. And then he puts his arm out and he fucking, again, full page spread, blasts fucking Cell's ass, bro.
Yeah, and I love this scene in the anime too.
Oh my god, it's one of those like, it's Piccolo reclaiming the badassery he had in the 23rd tournament. We haven't seen Piccolo even against the fight with second form Frieza. He wasn't like this.
Yeah.
Rare form here. We got another super chat from Gabby. Just finished Cobra Kai in 1 week. Loved it so much. Really hope Karate Kid Legends doesn't flop. Also, who's your favorite and least favorite character? Well, I'm glad you finished Cobra Kai. I love that anime. It's my favorite anime besides Dragon Ball. My favorite character is, Johnny Lawrence is my spirit animal. Terry Silver's my favorite villain, and my favorite character is Tori. And I can't tell you why it's my favorite because this is a PG stream, but you figure it out. What about you? Do you have a favorite Cobra Kai character?
Yeah, probably Johnny.
It's not Tori, bro, for similar reasons to me.
No. I actually prefer LaRusso's wife. I think she's gorgeous.
Oh, Amanda? She's got a following too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she's gorgeous.
She's very pretty, but she's also like her character. I like that she's the only normal one. Everyone else wants to do the karate. She's like, stop it. We're fighting over kids' karate. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She's great. All right, so look at this, bro. He scorched the entire city with one shot. I love it, bro. Justin says, fun fact, this is one of 2 times that Piccolo surpassed Goku and Vegeta. The first was against Frieza. Yes. Well, you can, actually, you're right, because Orange Piccolo, I don't know if Orange Piccolo, I don't think Orange Piccolo surpasses UI, but he did surpass Super Saiyan Blue.
There really is no surpassing UI if you master it completely. So
no, there isn't, because it's the angels. Unless you're fucking the Grand Priest. Because watch, bro, when Goku figures out how to do the angelic Ultra Instinct, Whis will be like, that's great. Then there's the Grand Priest version.
Yeah.
And here we go again, bro. Here we go again. More with the androids here. There's not too much to talk about, but they are sensing something weird going on. And 16 does have an artificial energy sensor, and he says he doesn't have data on either of them. So the merger to the Super Namekian is not recognized by 16's
data
microprocessor. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Neither is Cell. So they're over here like, okay, like what? Now they want to know what the fuck's going on. Now they're caught up in the mystery. All I can tell is that one of them has enough power to rival the 2 of you. And then 17's like, yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. So here comes Piccolo going after Cell. Cell goes for a hit. He misses. Piccolo just is a different level here. Goes behind Cell, knocks him away. Tremendous. I love this fight, bro. Anime and manga. It's short but sweet, like my dick.
Yeah.
Is that all you've got, or was I mistaken? I thought I'd sense a terrible and formidable monster. You're quite impressive. Before what you see before you is nothing. I have yet to achieve my perfect form. There's the teaser. What did you say? Perfect form? That's the reason why you've been attacking people? That's right. I extract their bioenergy and take it for myself. AKA he sucks you for energy. Answer me this. Who was it that sent you to this era with the time machine? I came here. Now, I'm going to ask you a question about this, but I want to talk about this. I came here of my own accord. The time machine was far too small for this body, so I found it necessary to devolve myself back into an egg. I must admit, I'm quite surprised that you knew about the time machine. But even so, I doubt that you know about this. Great fucking ka. That's all you need to know, bro. Me? Huh? Ha? Me? It can't be. What a great fucking... And you have to wait a week, bro. Toriyama was on fire with the cliffhangers, dog, during this time.
Yeah.
This might have been the best time when it comes to cliffhangers, specifically for the manga. Remember, we're reading all this in one shot, like this whole volume. In Japan, when this first came out, they had to wait a week, bro, 7 days to find out what the hell happened. And I'm sure people talked about it. The monster's riddle is solved. I love this right here because it shows Vegeta, Piccolo. And notice it shows Vegeta in his Saiyan Saga outfit because that's when Cell's data was borrowed from. I fucking love that touch.
Yeah.
Goku from the Piccolo fight, Piccolo from the Goku fight, and then Frieza and King Cold. I love it, bro. And it just tells you right there the foreshadowing of the cells. So he fires a Kamehameha. Piccolo realizes that it's a real Kamehameha. He dodges. And then he comes up from behind Piccolo and hugs him. Cell likes to go behind men, hug them, and suck them.
Yeah.
Is anything I just said a lie?
No.
What was Toriyama trying to tell us? Maybe General Blue wasn't the only. Hey, here's Cell with the tail. So he sticks it in. It's too easy, bro. He sticks it inside of Piccolo. I'm actually not doing it on purpose. Just reading it and simplifying it is true. Just your arm, huh? It's all the same to me. I'll drain your power. And then he's like, oh, and he's sucking his arm. All right, Justin with a $10 super chat. This guy should have said to Piccolo, the most important thing to me is getting some bio. Now, getting bio is more important than eating food. Is more important than drinking water. You know what he's talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Booty. Booty's more important. You know, if I was young and you came in here, I probably would have touched one of y'all butt, you know. They got the young boys and they pants sag. They call it gangster. I think it's sexy. You know, I found that clip. I saw Fleece Johnson before Boondocks made a parody of it.
Oh my god.
Because that clip went viral, bro. The original Fleece Johnson interview. Him and the other dude. Did you ever see the clip of the guy who's like, see, in prison, we call it toss a salad. What you do is you lick a man's ass and you suck it. Did you ever see that clip?
No.
I'm going to send it to you later, bro. Okay. We call it toss a salad, bro. It went viral. So during that time, this is like 2009, 2010, all these like prison documentaries were coming out and they all had classic moments like that. There's a documentary called Turned Out. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because it's very inappropriate, but it's fucking funny, dude. Toss a salad.
I believe you.
No, dude, it was great. All right, so Piccolo's arm. This is me after No Nut November, bro. That's what happens to my arm. So, and now he got a little bit of energy, but then Piccolo's like, oh, you've won. And then he's like, well, now that you've won, tell me your secret plan, which makes Cell kind of an idiot, right? What exactly are you? Why is it that you possess the key of Son Goku, Frieza, and the others? How is it you know the Kamehameha? Well, you're going to die anyway, so I'll tell you. My name is Cell. I'm an artificial human. I was born of the computer in Dr. Garo's lab. Again with the Dr. Garo. Even Piccolo's like, again, this motherfucker. Once upon a time. I like how he starts with once upon a time, bro. That's great.
He's telling him a fairy tale.
Fairy tale, yeah. Mm-hmm. Dr. Garo collected cells from the greatest fighters and began conducting research on artificial humans who could be synthesized from those cells. Due to the sheer amount of time required for this task, he gave up on it midway through, leaving his computer behind to continue his work for him. Son Goku, Piccolo, even Vegeta's cells were collected. All of them were harvested after the battle that took place during Vegeta's arrival on Earth. So we see Piccolo protecting Gohan, which is during the Nappa fight. Goku almost dying after facing Uzaru Vegeta. And Vegeta almost dying after Gohan became a grade 8. Justin says, so Piccolo has been groped by Dr. Garo, and now his arm has been violated. Piccolo is going to need a lot of therapy after this arc. Yeah, bro, no wonder he asked the dragon for a new form. He needed help. He needed help to make sure that never happened again. So he's like, from all the way back then, that would explain why your Kamehameha was nothing to worry about. In addition to this, we were fortunate enough to come by the cells of Frieza and his father when they arrived here. We could have acquired the cells of Trunks as well, but we had more than enough contributions from the Saiyans, which is funny because he should have got Trunks' cells. Then they would have known about Super Saiyan. Dumbass! So here we have Frieza getting cut in half and Cold dying. I like how we're just reminded of everybody getting thrashed. How did you acquire their cells? We would have noticed if anybody around was. And he's like, Dr. Garo didn't clue you in. He employed spy robots to help keep tabs on your every move. Tiny robots the size of a bee. They were the ones who gathered the cells that were required. And then you see it right there. This is what I call a good retcon. This is a good retcon because he's basically saying the entire time these events happened, the bug was always there watching and collecting data. That is a good retcon because it doesn't contradict the past. What do you think?
I just think it's cool.
And notice the spy bug started to collect the data after Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon Army because that's what triggered Garo to be pissed. Yash says Piccolo asked the question and got Cell's full resume. Okay. Some people think, and I want to get your thoughts on this because Lance said the same thing. Some people think that this is when Cell stopped being interesting because his whole plan was revealed and suddenly,
I disagree with that.
the
I disagree with
mystery.
that thoroughly. You have to pay off the mystery at some point. You have to.
But you don't think they could have dragged it out longer?
No, I don't. I think this is the appropriate time to reveal that he's going to have to put in efforts into absorbing the androids and all this stuff. If you put it off any longer, the pacing would have been egregious. Like, no, I disagree with that fundamentally. And I think the idea that Cell's pursuit of perfection is his motivation makes him continuously interesting.
I agree with that.
So it's like, no, I just don't agree with that. But
I agree with you. Yes. Cell is the first villain we've ever seen who Piccolo wished himself to be young. Yeah, but Cell's the first villain we've ever seen who actually has a mission to become stronger as opposed to they're already strong. Frieza was already strong. Vegeta, Nappa, already strong. This is a guy who knows that he has two more forms and wants to achieve them.
With storytelling, everything is supposed to culminate together and coincide together in a cohesive manner. And putting this off any longer would have made it to where everything is not unfolding together. Like it would make it to where part of the events are lagging while the other part of the events are still unfolding, and that's just not good storytelling.
Well, I think his thing was they killed the mystery too soon.
Yeah, but that, like I said, you have to reveal the mystery at some point. And at this point in the story, it is time to start progressing the plot point for Cell as a character. You can't relying on it being a mystery for too long is a crutch. You have to have it everything play out simultaneously together in a way that the reader can cohesively put all the pieces together like a puzzle piece. And this was the time where 17 and 18 were getting an interest in Cell. This is the time where all the Z fighters were starting to themselves catch on to what Cell was. So this is the time to progress Cell's agenda in the story. And that's just, that's my stance on it. But
no, I mean, it has been something debated from fans for years. Thank you, government. Love and peace for the $20. Hey, the government gave me some money for the first time. So there you go. So Piccolo says fuck it and destroys the spy robot. Bam, gone. And then Cell's like, it's too late. It's already got all your cells. We've already got all the data. I won't be completed for another 24 years in the future. So now we know for sure that he took the time machine. We just don't know exactly how.
Right.
So he says, that's impossible. We destroyed Dr. Garrow's lab. The computer resides in an underground bunker beneath the lab. So there's the lab, and there's another, like a hidden floor beneath it. I thought that was always cool. It's almost like Garrow knew that his lab was going to get destroyed and had that as a backup plan.
Yeah.
It also feels like it also kind of feels like he had, this is a topic for another day, but it feels like Cell was like his ultimate like backup of the backup. So remember, originally 19 and 20 were going to kill Goku. Then he had 17 and 18. Cell is almost like, okay, this is my failsafe. If 17 and 18 can't get the job done, then I'm going to have Cell show up and he's going to get the job done. And I know 17 and 18 might betray me, so fuck it. I'll have it that he has to absorb them. I feel like he thought like 5 moves ahead in some ways.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In some ways, because he still ended up dying. So
you can't put all your ducks in a row like that all the time, There's always going to be factors you can't prepare for.
Yeah, right. So Piccolo says, why did you wait 3 years after arriving in this era to go from an egg to what you are now? He says, after emerging from my egg, I matured underground for 3 years. That's simply how long it took. I've indulged you long enough. It's time that I absorb you. Wait, I have one more question. What's the reason you've come here from the future? It takes far more than absorbing my life essence of humans to attain my perfect form. It's necessary for me to incorporate 2 essential special life forms. The computer informed me that those 2 special life forms are Dr. Garrow's own creations, 17 and 18. What did you say? However, they were nowhere to be found in the future that I come from. I don't know how he did it, but Trunks managed to defeat number 17 and 18. So his timeline, Cell took care of him. But luckily for me, Trunks was in possession of a time machine after killing him. I then used it to travel to this era in search of number 17 and 18. And now here we are. A lot of people have asked throughout the years, and I may have done a short about it, how Trunks was able to kill. A lot of people are like, if Trunks could kill 17 and 18, shouldn't he have been able to kill Cell? And the answer is no, because the theory that most fans have, including me, is that at some point Trunks gathered enough data so that Bulma could create a remote control to destroy 17 and 18, just as she did in the present timeline, and that Trunks did that instead of beating them with his own power. That's why Cell was able to easily kill Trunks. That myth always made the most sense to me.
I mean, maybe, but
I don't think he did it with power, because if he did, he would have been able to kill Cell. You know?
Yeah, I mean, the androids were weaker too, so I don't know. It's kind of up in the air to me, so I don't know.
The only reason I say it was a remote control is because we see Bulma make one.
You're
so
right,
maybe,
right. Yeah.
So she can. Air Dog says Spybot should have been shown pre-Namek for suspense. Yeah, but that's, dude.
Don't just move on. Let's just move on.
You understand why that frustrates me, right?
Yeah, I do. But
you know what, Air Dog? Beerus should have been mentioned in Dragon Ball Manga Chapter 1, and that Toriyama should have known he was going to come up with Beerus in 2012. So Beerus should have been mentioned in Chapter 1 of Dragon Ball. That would have been good, bro. I don't understand why people say shit like that, bro.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are casuals and they just don't know, but it's whatever.
Yeah, but the thing about Air Dog is he will ask a good question and then he'll ask a dumb one. Like he kind of like he teeter-totters between like good and dumb. And I'm sorry, but that's a dumb fucking, like, think about what you just said, bro. You know what? Broly should have been mentioned in the Saiyan Saga. Yeah. Justin says, oh, fuck. So Cell wants his way with Lapis and Lazuli. Now, these two guys, these two look too young for this crap. Cell is coming off more like Sean Diddy Combs here. In this case, Cell Diddy Combs. Yeah. I'm going to say something right now. I think that Sean Diddy Combs might actually be worse than Cell, mostly because he's real. Well, they could have done it in the anime, right?
It's like he's trying to frustrate you. It really is.
Like, I'm rarely left speechless, bro. Like,
that look was priceless, man. You should make that like a profile picture on social media or something. That was awesome.
It's like,
that's like your reaction to the fandom after all these years. Like, that's the face that you're left with. After
didn't the anime come out years later? The fact that you show up on these streams and on the Twitch ones and you ask that question, dude.
Yeah, that's wild. Especially if he's been on the Twitch streams.
He's been on the Twitch streams and these, bro, and he asked that question. Like, I'm just gonna move on because some people can't be saved, bro. Like, some people they're hopeless. They're fucking hopeless. Okay. So that's it. Trunks has managed to destroy the artificial humans in the future. He must have had the time machine set to this era so that he could return here and inform us. And the computer also told me this. Once I attain my perfect form, I will possess horrific power that defies all imagination. Of course, it's Dragon Ball. But for what reason? Why is it that you want such overwhelming power? For what reason? The answer should be obvious. The computer was programmed with instructions to create the strongest being that it could conceive. Or perhaps it's the blood of the Saiyans, Frieza, and Piccolo that drives me to seek it. And then he's like, I see. Like, that's wild to me, bro. That's wild to me.
So it's programming as well as his biological motivations, both. It's a combination of both. Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much, bro. Thanks. Now I finally figured out the mystery of who you are. Then he breaks his own arm, bro. He breaks his own arm. And then he regenerates his own arm. But how could Cell have been surprised by that if he knows how to do that too?
I don't think he's surprised that he regenerated his arm. I think he's surprised that he had the energy to do it.
That could be. That could be. Yeah, he did it so fast. Now, I did make a video about this, but Cell's regeneration is better than Piccolo's. It's like an enhanced version of the Namekian one. And we find that out literally at the end of the arc. I'm not letting you reach your perfect form. You have my blood within you. You should have known that I could regenerate my arm. You blew it. See?
Yeah.
Chapter 64, Cell laughs. Okay. So we got to get through this a little bit faster here because we got to end the stream soon. And so Piccolo tricks him.
He talks about how he has the wisdom of God, which is a cool line. That's a cold line.
Yes, and that's when Cell realizes that he did indeed fuse with God. Piccolo and God have fused. And he's like, oh, you finally figured it out, which means the Dragon Balls are gone too. If anyone dies, there's no coming back. This works out nicely in my favor. It's no wonder you've become so much stronger, despite looking every bit like Piccolo Daimao. Bro, they should have shown Goma in the first chapter of Dragon Ball. That's what they should have done. They should have shown him all the way. That they fucked up, bro. The anime came out years later. So here fucking Krillin realizes that he's there. And then Cell's like, wait a minute. How is Trunks here? How is Trunks here? You know, so his time machine came back too. I find it funny that there are multiple time travelers going back to the same time.
Yeah. When one person time travels, they create the same events as the other timeline. So that's what makes this so trippy, is the fact that Cell traveling through time, it created two timelines. It didn't just create the one, because it had to create the other timeline that the Trunks would inevitably come from in order to, you know, warn everybody and help Goku. So it's kind of it's interesting in that sense.
That's why there's 4 timelines. Well, in OG Dragon Ball, the manga's 4 timelines.
Yeah.
So, did he say something else? I thought he said something else in the chat.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Oh, God. Okay, so Cell's like, I'll kill him again, whatever. And then they realize, oh, this is what killed the people of Ginger Town. They all get to see Cell. He's like, I'll take care of this. No worries. Piccolo wants to do it. And then Cell's like, I got to get out of here. And then he says, that's right, Kuriri, and not just the Kamehameha. If I needed to, I could probably create a Genki Dama as well. I did do a video where I discussed, can Cell do the Spirit Bomb? So go watch that video after this if you want to know the answer. How does he know that? When Goku hears about this, he'll be stunned. Oh, Goku's alive? Remember, in his timeline, Goku is also dead. I see. So Son Goku's alive. It seems that this history is quite a bit different from the one I know. I will do whatever it takes to acquire 17 and 18. If Piccolo is the best you have to offer against the artificial humans, you have no hope of preventing me from reaching my perfect form. And then, bam, bam. I love the art here, bro. The detail. Taioken! Everyone's blinded. He gets away. Wouldn't it have been cool? Wouldn't it have been cool if in Daima they used that move on Goma or on the Giants to get out of that
Yeah,
situation?
Kaioken's awesome. It's an awesome technique.
There's a lot. It's like they forgot they can do that. That is one of the most useful techniques ever, bro. Like that is, there's techniques that are powerful, right? Like, super Kamehamehas and big bang attacks and stuff like that, Final Flash. But that is actually useful.
Yeah, it's
in a
really
different way. Yes. So now they're all pissed off because he got away. And notice he lowered his ki and he's leaving on foot because if he flies, they could sense his ki. So he basically dipped because he knows that he can't take on all of them alone, especially not with Piccolo and God merged. And now he's over here saying, I'm going to have to get as much energy as possible because these guys are coming for me. So now Vegeta shows up. He's fucking trying to figure out what's going on. Here's Piccolo very mad, growling and snarling. Piccolo and Vegeta.
Vegeta's like, I got surpassed by freaking Piccolo, bro. What the hell?
What is going on here, bro? You truly Piccolo? How is it that you've managed to increase your battle power so drastically in a short time? It seems he and God have merged. He's like, was it that simple? That battle power, there's no mistaking it. It surpassed even my own as a Super Saiyan. But that can't be. He's just a Namekian. No, he's a Super Namekian. Super Namekians are very rare. Justin says, Danny, do you think under the circumstances at this fight that Piccolo won, Cell was forced to retreat after all? Yes, I think Piccolo won and would have killed Cell if he didn't retreat.
Yeah, it's not Kaioken, it's Taioken, which is Supreme.
Yeah, nobody.
God Fist.
Yeah. Nobody said Kaioken.
Nobody
said Kaioken. Taioken with a T. Taio. Kaio is one move. Taio is another. Taio literally means sun. Like the word Taio just means
sun. God's fist. Yeah.
Yeah. And Ken is fist. Yeah. Sun Vulcan, the Sentai show, is called Taio Sentai Sun Vulcan, which means Sun Sentai Sun Vulcan. It's very it's like Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. It's redundant, but it's on purpose. The Japanese word and the English word. It's like saying ATM machine. The M means machine. So now Piccolo tells them all about 17 and 18. We'll use the machine. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Why does that make you laugh so much, bro?
Because it's hilarious. You do a great impression.
We'll use the machine. I know more about this earth than you could ever dream. That's why I must destroy it. Bro, Apocalypse is, I love that show. So now they're all finding out, and here's Cell. Now, one thing I like about this arc is Toriyama chooses to have us follow the villain's quest as well as the hero's quest. Now, in the Frieza saga and the Piccolo saga, he did do that, but not as much as he did it here, where we're witnessing Cell get stronger. Like it's not training, but it's kind of like his version of it.
Yeah.
And we don't really see villains train all that often. It happens, but not that often. So they're all talking, and now the new quest is we have to stop him from achieving perfection.
Vegeta's and then it's like I'm being mocked
at every turn, one after another. Everyone's leaving the Super Saiyan in the dust as if we're nothing. Wouldn't you say so, Kakarot? And then that's it. That's the end of the volume. We are done for this. We're done. We're done for this. You know what I was thinking, bro? Goku should have coughed in the first Dragon Ball chapter, and it's foreshadowing for the virus, bro. You imagine that in the first chapter of Dragon Ball, he coughs, and then Bulma's like, "Do you have some kind of a heart virus?" And Goku's like, "No, I'm fine."
This is going to be a recurring thing in the streams now.
Yeah, he fucked up, bro. Now I've turned him into a meme. He fucked up, dude. Now I'm going to turn him into a meme. Anyways, I like this volume a lot because it was so different. It wasn't even about the action. This is one of the most suspenseful volumes ever.
Yeah, suspense. That's literally what I was going to say. It's like very suspenseful. Yeah.
We should be back next week to do volume 31. So we got 31 before 40. We have 42 total, 31. So there's about 11 more streams, but we'll do bonus ones, like I said, from time to time, maybe. Justin says, imagine if Piccolo and the others asked Dick Cheney to help them hunt down Cell. I don't know, man. Dick Cheney might be more evil than Cell, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Find him and blast him in the woods. All right, well,
the super magic show will be this Sunday with Reel to Reel. So yeah, but next week I think we'll do the Mangalorian. Depending on, I had a health problem last week, which did get resolved, but we should be ready to go for next week. But just keep an eye on the scheduled streams, and we'll see. So
yeah, I gotta get out of here, guys. I'll catch you later.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. See you real